Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we hope you liked our new musical starting. It's a new thing we're doing now. We're having some problems with loading up on Facebook, so just impetus to make us get a bit more high tech. So we're just trying to make it a bit more modern.
After 1 year, so we did a reading yesterday, which kind of marked a few days after 1 year of reading Bhagavatam. But unfortunately, as Baba was saying, we had some technical difficulties, so it didn't get uploaded. So we're going to continue, but the points we made yesterday were that after 1 year of reading for 20 minutes to half an hour, 3 times a week, we are now at the beginning of the 6th chapter of the
Srimad Bhagavatam.
3rd canto. We missed the cues. So the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's pretty good. So just reading 3 times a week for 20 minutes, and you make steady progress through the Bhagavatam. So just a little bit every day. So okay.
So it's chapter 6. Starting with text 1, which is called Creation of the Universal Form, and still Maitreya and Vidura speaking. Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 1. The Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies, such as the Mahatattva. Purport. There is nothing wanting in the creation of the Lord. All the potencies are there in a dormant state, but unless they are combined by the will of the Lord, nothing can progress. The suspended progressive work of creation can only be revived by the direction of the Lord.
Text 2. The Supreme Powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his eternal external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. Purport. The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, leg, evacuating organ, genitals, speech, and mind. All are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of the Lord and acts in her own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called Kali and is represented by the dark destructive goddess generally worshipped by persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in material existence. In the Vedic hymn, this process is described as Mula Prakritir Avikritir Mahadadya Prakriti Vikrita Sapta Soda Sakastu Vikaro Na Prakritir Na Vikriti Purushaha. The energy which acts as material nature in a combination of 23 ingredients is not the final source of creation. The Lord enters into the elements and applies his energy called Kali. In all other Vedic scriptures, the same principle is accepted. In Brahma Samhita 535, it is stated, Eko pyasara chayitum jagarananda kotam yachchaktir asti jagaranda chayayaranta arantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature and then into each and every universe as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and then as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu into all the elements, including every atom of matter. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable, both in the universes and in the individual atoms.
Similarly, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.42. Atava bahuna tena kimna tena tavajuna vishta piyaham idam klitsnam ekam srena sito jagat. O Arjuna, there is no necessity of your knowing about my innumerable energies which act in various ways. I enter into the material creation by my partial plenary expansion, Paramatma, or the Supersoul, in all the universes and in all the elements thereof, and thus the work of creation goes on. The wonderful activities of material nature are due to Lord Krishna, and thus he is the final cause, or the ultimate cause of all causes.
Any thoughts so far?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Text 3, translation. Thus, when the personality of Godhead entered into the elements by his energy, all the living entities were enlivened into different activities, just as one is engaged in his work after awakening from sleep. Thus, when the personality of Godhead entered into the elements by his energy, all living entities were enlivened into different activities, just as one is engaged in his work after awaking from sleep. So basically everyone was asleep, and then Krishna entered in with his energy, and we all woke up. Purport: every individual soul remains unconscious after the dissolution of the creation, and thus enters into the Lord with his material energy. These individual living entities are conditioned souls everlastingly, but in each and every material creation they are given a chance to liberate themselves and become free souls. So basically we all enter, when the material world is created or starts, then we're all, initially we're asleep, then we kind of come into being to live out our lives. And every time we take a birth, we have the opportunity to get free from this cycle of birth and death. But that's not so easy. They are all given a chance to take advantage of the Vedic wisdom and find out what is their relationship with the Supreme Lord, how they can be liberated, and what the ultimate profit is in such liberation. By properly studying the Vedas, one becomes conscious of his position and thus takes to the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, and is gradually promoted to the spiritual sky. The individual souls in the material world engage in different activities according to their past, unfinished desires. After the dissolution of a particular body, the individual soul forgets everything but the all-merciful Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart as the witness. The Supersoul awakens him and reminds him of his past desires, and thus he begins to act accordingly in his next life. This unseen guidance is described as fate. And a sensible man can understand that this continues his material bondage in the three modes of nature.
The unconscious sleeping stage of the living entity just after the partial or total dissolution of the creation is wrongly accepted as the final stage of life by some less intelligent philosophers. After the dissolution of the partial material body, a living entity remains unconscious for only a few months. And after the total dissolution of the material creation, he remains unconscious for many millions of years. But when the creation is again revived, he is awakened to his work by the Lord. The living entity is eternal, and the wakeful state of his consciousness manifested by activities is his natural condition of life. He cannot stop acting while awake, and thus he acts according to his diverse desires. When his desires are trained in the transcendental service of the Lord, his life becomes perfect, and he is promoted to the spiritual sky to enjoy eternal awakened life.
Any thoughts?
It's interesting that after we die, it says, we remain unconscious for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's until the egg or whatever is child is, I guess, a few months until it gets eyes and ears and in the womb.
Well, I don't know, and I've heard different things. Yeah, that's always been a little bit of a mystery. It'd be good to investigate it more and try to understand, because here it says a few months, but I've also heard like 11 days. I've heard matters of days, and in some places I think I've read or heard, understood that it happens almost simultaneously, or sometimes I've heard Srila Prabhupada say that even while someone is on the verge of death, their consciousness is creating the next body, and then that the subtle body carries the soul to that next body at the time of death. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like sometimes it happens almost instantaneously. Mm-hmm. But we do hear also that there is a space between where the soul kind of goes through a
purgatory.
Yeah, like a purgatory place.
Yeah, it seems the grades of the grade of next life, because some people have to. What I've also read is they get dragged to the hellish planet and they suffer as they're going to the hellish planets. Mm-hmm. But with my understanding, we don't all see that.
Yeah.
So.
And does it take a couple of months for them to get dragged to the hellish planets, kind of thing?
No, but I read it feels like it's long enough. But
well, yeah, but I guess the thing is.
Yeah.
What it says here is it remains unconscious for only a few months after. Yeah. So what does it say? After the that's after the dissolution of the partial material body.
Yeah, that my understanding is the gross body, and then the subtle body
of the partial material. Oh, okay.
And the subtle body remains with the spirit soul and go somewhere else.
Well, okay, because there's the partial dissolution, right? And then there's a total dissolution of the material world also.
Yeah.
So I thought that, I'm not sure if that's what it's referring to, because it seems to be Prabhupada seems to be amalgamating the two things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's that after you die you remain unconscious for a few months, or if it means that when there's a dissolution, a partial dissolution of the material world, a partial devastation, then you remain like unconscious. The jiva is unconscious in a kind of, not purgatory, not hell, not this, not that, but like a frozen animation. Yeah? But then when the total dissolution happens of the material creation, he remains unconscious for millions of years.
Yeah, when the end of the world type devastation.
Yeah, well, it's we're alive during the exhalation of Mahavishnu, and we cease to exist during the inhalation. So, but in between those are partial annihilations. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's the day and the night of Brahma also. So in the night of Brahma, that's a partial dissolution. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what it's talking about, huh? Even though it says after the dissolution of the partial material body, I think that partial material body means the material universe, material creation. Mm-hmm. But then even it says a few months, of course. A night of Lord Brahma is like, I don't know, how many 4.2 billion years or something like that. So that's too much. So yeah, it's hard to Anyway, this is technical.
Yeah, she just skipped to Canto 10. That's a joke. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, text 4. So actually, pretty soon after this, we're going to get into the pastime of Kardamamuni and Devahuti.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah. I think we got about 10 more chapters to go.
Oh, well, that's not pretty soon.
Well, it is in the whole Bhagavatam. I mean, in a day of devastation, it's like pretty soon. Okay, text 4. When is it my turn? Yeah. When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form, or the Vishwarup body of the Lord, came into existence. Purport. The Virat Rupa or Vishvarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, which is very much appreciated by the impersonalists, is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is manifested by the supreme will of the Lord after the ingredients of material creation. Lord Krishna exhibited his Virat Rupa or Vishvarupa to Arjuna just to convince the impersonalists that he is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna exhibited the Virat Rupa. It is not that Krishna was exhibited by the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa is not, therefore, an eternal form of the Lord exhibited in the spiritual sky. It is a material manifestation of the Lord. The Archa Vigraha, or worshipable deity in the temple, is a similar manifestation of the Lord for the neophytes. But in spite of their material touch, such forms of the Lord as the Virat and Archa are all non-different from his eternal form as Lord Krishna. Now that's an interesting statement. Of course, the Virat Rupa form statement we understand because the Virat Rupa is an understanding of the universal creation as the body of the Lord. So then it's clear that that means the planets are his upper portions, the sun and the moon are his eyes, and there's so many different things we've read already several times explaining that. But that's not an eternal form, and in different universes it may look different or appear different. So, but then to say the Archa form also is similar because it's made of material elements, but as Prabhupada says here, they are all non-different, but they're not eternal like that. Does that make sense? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're non-different though.
Yeah.
And the deity in the temple is a similar manifestation of the Lord for the neophytes.
What does that mean?
Well, it could get little controversial, just a little. Because it's interesting, people sometimes come and they don't notice the Vaishnavas or maybe even the temple, or it's just me and Krishna. I need to come and see Krishna and take darshan of Krishna, which is quite a neophyte way of behaving, really. Because there are devotees around you that you need to interact with, and there is a temple, and it's not just a step over this, do over that. I mean, I know when it was normal times, if we can remember that before COVID, especially if you're in the temple on the ladies' side, men would come in the morning during class. I need to pay my obeisances to Prabhupada, and their feet would be literally on your lap almost, because you'd be sitting in front of Prabhupada. They'd step over the ladies, whatever, and then they step over the brahmacharis to go and see the deities and do the same thing. And it's interesting, it's almost like, we get it, of course you pay your respects, but I think these personalities also get it, that there is a class, and I forgive you if you don't do full dandavats and roll around the floor in the dust and this and disrupt.
These personalities, meaning the forms of
God
the Lord.
And Prabhupada, yeah. Yeah, I don't mean, that sounds controversial. My point is interesting because it doesn't appear very, Uttamadhikari, it doesn't appear very high. It seems quite entry level devotion, like it's just me and God.
What, the deities?
No,
that mentality.
The act,
Yeah, so do you think that's why Prabhupada said...
No, not totally, but it reminded me of that. Because sometimes people who have that neophyte or basic newcomer mentality, wars can be and have been
waged
in the form of deity worship. That's how meant to get controversial. And you think, come on, what is this? I thought the deity was not different from the Lord. But it's interesting how... I might stop there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I mean, in principle, you could say, of course, the Archavigraha form is, I mean, Prabhupada says it's their worshipable deity in the temple is it's manifestation of Lord for the neophytes. So Archavigraha is for the neophytes, so that they can connect with Krishna in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the ultimate thing is you actually become connected with Krishna.
Oh.
Ooh, wow. Thunder. The next rain. So, but of course for us, we're worshipping Shisha Radha Manishwar. So Prabhupada said that he is non-different from Vrindavan. He didn't say he's non-different.
He is.
He said he is Vrindavan Krishna.
Yes. This is confirmed to me personally by His Holiness Shri Swami, who heard this. Remember, he confirmed this to me in writing, that they are non-different from Sri Sri Radha and then from the Absolute Truth. They are non-different from the Absolute Truth. And he also confirmed, again, slightly controversial, so we might end here, that all other deities are manifestations of these deities.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a picture in right now of them so you can see them right here, right there.
Okay. So I guess we better finish there. That was a good 20 minutes, but we only got in 4 verses. But slow and steady wins the race, and it's important to discuss Bhagavatam as you read, but it's also important to just read.
If you have any questions what we're reading, put it in the comments, because I do check all the comments. Like, I really do.
We will respond to them.
I do, yeah. So if you have any questions or any feedback even about the way we're presenting them, please put it in the comments.
We always want to improve.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. Please join us again next time for Bhagavatam. And if anyone is interested in acquiring a set of Srimad Bhagavatams, we will be happy to arrange that and sort it out for you. So please get in touch with us. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.